Who are the Rothschilds? The name itself, honestly, evokes images of just unimaginable wealth, secretive dealings, and a dynasty that seems to have shaped the course of history behind the scenes. But where did they come from? How did a single family rise from, modest beginnings to control fortunes that spanned continents? Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the Rothschilds, their origins, rise to power, and the myths that surround them. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love stories about history, power, and a bit of mystery, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because today we're unraveling the story of one of the most powerful families in modern history, the Rothschilds. The Rothschild story begins in Frankfurt, Germany, in the late 1700s. At that time, Frankfurt was a bustling center of commerce, but also a city marked by deep social divisions and strict boundaries, especially for its Jewish residents. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, the patriarch, was born in 1744 into a relatively modest Jewish family. Their home was in the Judengasse, the Jewish quarter, where opportunities were limited, but community ties were strong. His father was a money changer, and Mayer learned early on how to handle money carefully, a skill that would shape the destiny of his descendants. From a young age, he observed the value of trust, reputation, and meticulous record-keeping in business. But here's the first interesting twist. Mayer was not just interested in banking. He was curious about the world beyond coins and ledgers, always seeking new opportunities. He had a keen sense for politics and alliances, understanding that relationships could be just as valuable as money itself. In a time when Jews faced many social restrictions, he found a way to build influence without relying on traditional aristocratic titles. Mayer's resourcefulness allowed him to navigate a world that often tried to keep him on the margins. And he did it in a remarkably clever way, by building a family empire instead of depending on a single patron. This approach would lay the foundation for a dynasty that would change the course of European history. Mayer's big break came when he started working with the influential German prince Wilhelm of Hesse-Kassel, one of the wealthiest men in Europe at the time. This partnership would change not only Mayer's life, but the future of banking itself. Mayer began by helping manage the prince's vast coin collection, gaining his trust and respect. Soon, he was entrusted with handling large loans for military campaigns during the turbulent Napoleonic Wars, navigating the complex world of European finance and politics. This wasn't just ordinary banking, it was the dawn of international finance as we know it today, with Mayer at the center of a rapidly changing world. But Mayer had a secret weapon: his 5 ambitious sons, each with a sharp mind for business and a drive to succeed. Unlike most families at the time, Mayer didn't just pass down his wealth. He passed down a revolutionary business model, teaching his sons the importance of trust, secrecy, and cooperation. Each son was strategically sent to a different European city. Amschel stayed in Frankfurt, managing the family base. Salomon went to Vienna, the heart of the Habsburg Empire. Nathan moved to London, the world's financial capital. Karl established himself in Naples, a key Mediterranean hub. And James, the youngest, traveled to Paris, where he would soon make his mark on French finance. This network of brothers allowed the Rothschilds to move money, information, and even political influence faster than almost anyone else in Europe, giving them a unique edge. During wars, revolutions, and economic crises, the Rothschilds had eyes and ears everywhere, a kind of 19th-century global intelligence network. Their ability to gather and act on information was unmatched. Clever, right? If there's one son who became legendary, it was Nathan Mayer Rothschild, based in London. Nathan had an almost uncanny ability to predict financial trends, and he was instrumental in funding Britain's war against Napoleon. There's a famous story, though historians debate the details, that Nathan made a fortune because he allegedly knew about Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo before anyone else and acted on it. Whether or not the tale is fully true, it symbolizes the Rothschilds' reputation for being ahead of the curve. By the mid-19th century, the Rothschilds weren't just rich, they were power brokers. They financed railways, governments, wars, and even infrastructure projects. Some of Europe's grandest landmarks, like the Suez Canal, were partially funded by Rothschild capital. Essentially, if Europe wanted to build something or fight a war, there's a good chance the Rothschilds had a hand in it. But their influence wasn't limited to money or finance alone. The Rothschilds were also major patrons of art, science, and philanthropy. They collected priceless art, supported cultural institutions, and helped shape the cultural landscape of Europe. Their support extended to scientific research, funding discoveries, and innovations that would influence generations to come. In France, England, and Austria, Rothschild palaces and estates became vibrant centers of culture, social gatherings, and intellectual exchange, attracting artists, thinkers, and leaders from across the continent. Interestingly, they also practiced a unique form of family governance, holding regular councils and making decisions collectively. Despite being spread across Europe, the family maintained a strict, highly organized system of communication and decision-making, ensuring unity and shared purpose. Letters, trusted couriers, and later telegraphs ensured that no major decision was made without the family's input, keeping everyone informed and involved. This remarkable level of coordination was highly unusual at the time, almost like a proto-corporate multinational, long before modern corporations existed, setting a precedent for global business families. Of course, with great power comes great rumors. The Rothschilds became the subject of countless conspiracy theories. Some claimed they secretly controlled the world's governments. Others said they orchestrated wars for profit. Here's the thing. Much of this is exaggerated or outright false. Anti-Semitic narratives in the 19th and 20th centuries often used the Rothschilds as symbols of a supposed Jewish conspiracy, which unfairly painted an entire community with one family's story. The truth is more nuanced. The Rothschilds were incredibly wealthy and influential. Yes, but the idea that they secretly rule the world is a myth. What's fascinating is that the myths themselves show how society perceives wealth and influence. The Rothschild story became almost legendary because of how unprecedented their power was, and still is today, in a way, through legacy and philanthropy. Today, the Rothschilds are less about headline-making wealth and more about diversified investments and philanthropy. While they may no longer dominate European banking in the way they did in the 1800s, their name still carries weight in finance, wine, real estate, and charitable work. One interesting fact, the family still practices a degree of secrecy, but their influence has shifted from overt power to strategic investments. They've evolved from wartime financiers to global entrepreneurs, investors, and cultural patrons. In a sense, they adapted to modern times while keeping the legacy of Mayer Amschel alive. So, why should we care about the Rothschilds today? First, their story is a blueprint of strategic thinking, networking, and family governance. They show how vision, patience, and collaboration can transform a small business into an international powerhouse. Second, they remind us that history is rarely black and white. Wealth and power create myths, legends, and sometimes misinformation. By separating fact from fiction, we can appreciate their real achievements without falling into conspiracy traps. The Rothschilds rose from modest beginnings to become a symbol of wealth, strategy, and influence. They were financiers, philanthropists, cultural patrons, and yes, legends of their time. Their story teaches us about ambition, innovation, and the power of family networks, all without needing to control the world in secret. Next time you hear the name Rothschild, remember, it's not just about money. It's about vision, resilience, and the impact one family can have across generations. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Rothschilds, give this video a like, share it with a friend who loves history, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the past and present. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.